Hi everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to part 5. I think it's part 5 of our Fujimi 116 Ferrari 288 GTO build. Either way, it's the final part because we're going to get this all finished today. So we've got all the exterior parts to paint up. We've got the doors to put in place, the engine cover, all the glassware to do, and we've got a job I've not looked forward to doing. We've got all the bodywork to flat sand and polish. And if you remember, we had a ton of dust landing this thing, and I've not been looking forward to dealing with it because there was loads. So how far we're going to go to get rid of the dust, I don't know. We'll see. But I'll do as good a job as I can to the point I'm happy. Doors open today. I hope it doesn't wipe the white balance out. It looks okay at the minute. It's been extremely hot in the UK, for us anyway. It was 32 degrees in my cave yesterday. Very uncomfortable. You're probably thinking, that's nothing, but we're not designed, the UK, to cope with warm temperatures. We're not acclimatized to it at all. So yeah, the door's open to keep me as cool as possible. Right then, let's jump in with the build, and let's get cracking. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. Right then, we're back in the beginning of a video again, and guess what we're doing? We're cleaning up parts. So we've got a few parts to clean up, not that many really. We've got all the bumper inserts, the front grille to clean up, window wipers, just a few parts to do, some clear parts to cut off and clean up and paint, and these are all going to be primed and painted in Tamiya LP5 semi-gloss black. Clear lights will use LP clears, and that's it. These are the old exterior parts to go on, so pretty basic parts. Just going to clean them all up using our UMP sanders, a mixture of our 400 thinny, 220 sponge, and our buffer as well. Just get rid of those sprue locator points. A bit tricky on some of the bits. The window wipers are in 2 parts per wiper, and quite brittle plastic on the Fujimi kits, which I think we've mentioned before. So be very, very careful when you're sanding parts, especially bits like this where they're multi-part but connected, if that makes sense. Just take your time, make sure you support everything as you sand. But overall, pretty nice looking plastic, pretty well detailed for what we've got. This front grille is iconic on the 288, so it's a very noticeable part, so make sure this one's properly cleaned up. Like I say, the window wipers, especially fiddly and brittle, very, very easy to snap them. So just some gentle sanding, gentle cleanup. And as I said before, this Fujimi black plastic is pretty nasty. It makes an absolute mess of the sanders, it really does. Now, clear parts, which are going to prove troublesome. Not necessarily at this stage, but later on when we get to actual clear parts of the build. So we've got the front indicators, which we put Tamiya LP clear orange on. And they're left on the sprue. And then we've got the rear lights. Now I do make a little bit of a mistake on these. I misread the instructions. And I paint all the centers red when they're not. It's just 2 of them are red and 2 of them are clear. So I had to come back in about halfway through and just use some Mr. Hobby leveling thinner just to wipe off all the clear and start over. So bear in mind the mistake. Don't be shouting at the screen or posting in the comments just yet. I do become aware of the problem in a little bit, and luckily using Mr. Hobby leveling thinner, the problem is quite easy to remedy. So loading up a Microbrush, I find these especially useful for any circular parts like this. Any areas we go just a little bit out of bounds, we can get off with a cocktail stick. So I'm just looking from the exterior, is anywhere I've missed? Is anywhere I've gone a bit over? I'm thinking, yes, I have a little bit there. So what we'll do, we'll just fill in the rest. And as you see, I painted all 4 wrongly. But on all of them, we're going to clean up the edges with a cocktail stick just to give the demarcation its sharpness it needs. So I've made a mistake, like I say, and I'm now going around everything in the clear red. So only one should have the red centres. The side I'm actually painting now should be clear. I do figure it out in a minute. But basically, we're just loading up the Microbrush with the LP and filling everywhere that needs to be red. So kind of flooded a little bit without flooding it crazily. It does dry really quick, especially in the heat we've been having lately. I think when I was doing this, it was upwards of 28, 29 degrees C. So as we can see on one set of the rear lights, I've wiped them clean with Mr. Hobby Level and Thinner. I've got my display circle cutter and I've measured out some masks. And we're going to pop these right in the centre and then we can paint our clear yellow around the outside and keep the centre clear to give our reverse lights. Like so. So repeat that for both. Display circle cutters are not cheap, but what a viable tool to have when doing things like this. So simple, quick, easy and precise. They do give very, very nice round masks. As you can see, we just pop that in there. Then we'll load up our brush with orange and just fill around all the edge. Make sure it's burnished down with a cotton bud. On both sides. The LP paints, the clears dry super fast. So once we load this up, put it to one side, and by the time we come back to need it, it'll be nice and dry. Right, once we're happy all the paint's dry, we're going to back all the lights with some bare metal foil. So these are the headlights on the pop-ups. So we're going to clean them all up. Same sponges and thinny sticks as before and buffer. Just get rid of that sprue locator point. Nice and gentle. Don't change the shape of the light. We don't want to ruin its profile. So just some gentle sanding to remove the sprue point. Have a look, have a feel with your nail. Once you're happy, do the other one. Repeat. And then we can grab some bare metal foil and do the backs. The fog lights are rectangles, so they're pretty easy to clean up, straight edged. We've got some bare metal foil we cut into a square. All we're going to do is pop this on the back of all the lights, burnish it down, trim it to size, and that will do its job done then. So cut it up, pop it on, press it down, then got a cotton bud and burnish it down fully into the light. We're not happy, reposition it. I've noticed some of the newer bare metal foil not as adhesive as the old stuff. A lot of people saying it's a fact of where it's been stored. So be careful with this. And a lot of people saying that you are better buying direct from the US, from the factory, because you're getting a newer product that hasn't been laid around for a while. Whether that's true, I don't know. Mine seems okay. It's definitely not as sticky as it used to be, but it does the job. So I'm just going to burnish all the edges down, and then got a sharp knife, and we're just going to go around and trim off the excess, gently running our blade around the edge. Then once we've done that, we can grab a cocktail stick and properly push down all the edges to make sure it's fully down, and then that can be glued in place. So you could paint this if you wanted with silver paint. Using a bare metal foil, I think it gives a quite good effect. Same for the rectangular driving lights as well. Just pop it around the edge, make sure it's burnished down, and then trim the very edge with your sharp knife again. There you go. Once you're happy, have a little check. Nice fresh sharp blade in your knife. I like the Tamiya knives. And as always, all the products I use, there's a link in the description down below where you can find them all listed. It does need updating from time to time, so if something's not there and you can't find it, just have a Google for whatever name it is and let me know if it's not quite in stock. I'm just sending a quick text. There we go. And then our front grille as well. So we've got the indicators to go in here, turn signals, and our driving lamps as well. So a little bit of glue and glaze from Deluxe Materials. Again, in this weather, it was getting nice and tacky really fast. line it up, pop our light in, and then wipe off any excess glue that may get pushed out from the sides. There we go. We repeat that for the other side. Wipe off any excess glue. As you can see with the bare metal foil, they do shine really nice. Very happy with that. And then our driving lights as well. Pop them in, make sure they're straight, and then repeat that for the other side as well. Now the glass, this is what seems to let these Fujimi kits down quite a lot. I had problems with the 959 that we built. Some of these bits of glass had terrible marks on them out of the box. Remember the review, we looked at them. Luckily, we can replace some of it with acetate. I did try and replace other parts, but it just wasn't doable. And parts like this for the back screen are a little bit too complex to be replaced with acetate, so we've gone with the part. This one's not too bad, so we're just going to mask off all the centre so we can spray the framework in LP5. So a little bit of tedious masking, because obviously no mask set with the kit, so we're doing it all by eye, cutting it by hand, and getting it all sorted. So we go around the exterior with the thinner, I think this is 2mm Tamiya tape, and then once we're happy that that's all filled in, we can come with the thicker tapes and infill all the edges like so. Be careful, the glass is pretty brittle, so don't be putting any exerting any excess pressure on it. Take your time, and there we go. And then we can repeat that for the side windows as well, as you can see. Now these can be a little bit confusing, so make sure you refer to your instructions to see which way these go. It took me a few goes to figure out which way they're orientated, but once you've got them, they're pretty easy to do. Now, we've got a lot of dust on this body, and we've got a lot to sort out, so we need to go round and sand and polish the whole body. So we're using a combination here of a bit of wet and dry, some Microbrush, the UMP compound and the UMP polish set, to go round and remove all those flaws. So quite a bit of dust in this one. It was pretty horrific, the amount I landed on this, but it is what it is. We need to sort it out, so the best way is probably spend about 3-4 hours sanding on the body on a very, very hot day. This got really tedious really quickly. So once we've flattered it and we're happy it's flattered with the paper and Microbrush, we come in with the UMP compound and polish off the majority of the scratches, and then we'll come in with the polish, UMP polish, and finish it off to a nice high shine. So it's just a case going around, watch those window frames, they are quite delicate, we do not want to be breaking those, and just systematically go around, flat, polish, get everything to a nice high shine and get rid of as much of that dust as we possibly can. And we didn't do too bad a job. We had to call it a day. I had to just say, right, this is as far as I'm going to go, because I'm going to end up actually ruining my hard work. I did burn through in a couple of inconspicuous places, luckily, where it can't be noticed that bad. So that was my lesson of, yeah, let's not push this too far. So there are some flaws left in the paint, unfortunately. But it's a chance of pushing it further to remove them even more, or ruining the model. And I don't want to ruin all the hard work I've done, so I decided this was as far as I was going to go. So a good few hours polishing, sanding, etc. It took away most of it, so can't really complain. But lots of individual parts. Some I've got thicker 2K on than others. The rear engine cover probably one of the worst because of its complex shape. But it's just by the by. But just on that front luggage compartment cover, you can see spots where dust had been, and that's what we're trying to minimise the look of. So some water, some wet and dry, and then the UMP compound and polish does help reduce it significantly. Like I say, we could really push it and just try and get rid of it totally, but I think on this I'd have ended up burning through the paint, and basically we're back to square one then. And sometimes I just don't think it's worth the risk. I knew the glass was going to give us issues, so I know I'm not going to end up with an absolutely perfect model. So sometimes those imperfections are just going to have to be lived with. Again, onto the main body, lots of dust in the roof, some on the wings. So we'll do as good a job as we can, but without going too far and ruining all our hard work. So plenty of water, some nice wet and dry, some micromesh, 6,000, 8,000, 12,000. Work our way through all the grits, and then work our way through the ultimate compound on the polish. So, like I say, it was probably about 30 degrees on the day I was doing this in my cave. It was a scorcher. I don't know, for a lot of you folks overseas, probably thinking, is that it? But in the UK, we're just not made to cope with this weather. We're not acclimatised to it, so it's just immensely hot to us. Our homes are made to keep in heat, primarily. So the heat just lingers, and we don't have aircon. Very rarely do homes have aircon. So we have to suffer with the heat and high humidity. So yeah, you will hear us complain about the heat. There we go. So sanded, compounded, polished, and we're getting there now. We're starting to get some nice look to it. There's a few areas that need a bit more, so I'm just going to polish it all up, and we'll go around, rinse, repeat, so on and so forth, until we're happy. And it's only up to you how far you want to go. Are you happy with that slide floor, or are you happy pushing it and risking ruining all your hard work? It's one of those. It's a catch-22. But like I say, for me, sometimes it's worth just accepting a slide floor. And there we go. Look at that beautiful deep red. Absolutely stunning colour. Really is deeper than deep. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour with a wonderful 2K. And there's all our compartments done. Components done. So I'm going to go around now with the toothbrush and get any excess polish or compound out of any panel lines and gaps. And then we'll load up the airbrush with some water. Give it a bit of a jet wash into all those little recesses and get any out. Dry it off, and then we're ready to carry on. And here we go. So we're going to cut off our little man that's holding up our roof, as everyone keeps telling me. So we'll just snip him nice and close to the points. Now, we've got black window rubbers to paint around here. So no issue cutting these off now. A lot of people did ask why I've left them on. Purely for strength whilst we were doing all that polishing. So we removed the angry man. And we're going to sand off the sprue locator points nice and gentle. Again, we don't want to reprofile the shape. Some gentle sanding with our 400 thinny, and then our buffer. We'll get this ready for some paint. So, another tedious task, masking off the window rubbers. Thankfully, not too much. You've got the front screen and the two side windows to do. They're fairly straightforward. It's just a bit of a boring job to do. So we've got some 1mm Tamiya tape. Tamiya tape, Azu tape, any of those nice thin tapes. We sell them both at UMP Retail. Will do the job just fine. It's a choice of your own which one you use. For me, I think I prefer the Tamiya just that little bit more. So we've got the straight edge at the top. We're just curving it over the sides by just gently manipulating it piece by piece around that corner. Once we're happy, we can get the straight edge down the screen. A little bit of trial and error, but once you're happy, you can do it. Now I actually did switch this out for a slightly longer piece because I did notice it was a bit short one side. So there we go, we got it right down the A-pillar now. And then on the other side, that can then be burnished down with a cotton bud. So start being a bit more gentle now because we've got no support on those A-pillars. And they're not the strongest. So work gently here. And then along the bottom, a little bit fiddly, you've got this little indentation where the luggage cover, compartment cover goes. And again, just follow the profile of the window around. And just gently burnish it down. Once you're happy, you can repeat that on the side, like we're about to do, and then we can infill it with larger tape and then cling film. It is a tedious part of modelling. In the later stages of car building, there's some very boring bits that do take a long time to do, but the better the job you do, the better it's going to look. Now you can see the flaws in my paintwork on the roof. There's a few more spots of dust. I've got them out as much as I am prepared to push it. And that's just the way it is. It's where I'll sometimes leave things. It was very bad, the dust on this. Some models, I get barely any dust in there whatsoever. But just sometimes you do get them, and it's often, is it worth the risk of ruining this? And like I said 3 times now, on this one, no. I'm happy to accept just ever so slight flaws. You can only see them when the light catches them. They look a lot worse on camera than they actually are in real life. Camera always seems to exaggerate anything where light is involved. There we go. Infilling the rest around the 1mm with some 3mm Tamiya, and then we've got some 10mm Tamiya on a bit of cling film. I'm just going to use this to bulk mass infill the rest of the model. We don't really waste tape on the whole model. We can use double over, rolled over cling film for this. It'll do the job perfectly like it always does. Then we come with some 18mm tape, and we're just filling all the rest. De-tack every piece of tape that you use. Otherwise, when you take it off, you run the risk of pulling your paintwork off, and that's not something you want to do at all. Now, the spray booth, that's everything masked off, including the doors. We've got all the framework for the doors to do, and all the window rubbers to do on the car. So we've got some Tamiya LP5. We're going straight on the paintwork. A couple of light coats down, and then we're going to do our windows with it as well. 0.2mm apex, about 18 psi. We're just going to put a couple of coats down. This is pre-thin Tamiya LP5, about 60% thinner. I'm just going to build up some light coats, probably 2, 3 very light coats. And then we can move on to the window rubbers as well. Before you commit to painting, make sure those edges are burnished down. Double check you've got everywhere masked off, and make sure you go underneath in some places like we have through the engine bay, because otherwise you will get paint go back up from underneath. And again, ruin all your hard work. And again, just some nice light coats with the LP5. You can build up. Now, I did have some overspray on this, and I completely forgot to show me removing it. When we unmasked it, there's a few areas where the tape must not have quite... I got the edge demarcation right, but where I put the tape to the tape, I must have left little gaps. And there was a few spots of overspray. So, to get rid of that, even though it's lacquer paint, a little bit of Vallejo airbrush cleaner on a cotton bud will take it off as long as it's pretty fresh. Don't use UMP. Our airbrush cleaner is a lot stronger. It will literally damage the paintwork. But Vallejo airbrush cleaner I don't rate as an airbrush cleaner at all. I think it's terrible. It's good because it's so mild. It'll get rid of excess paint quite easily. So that's what we're going to use it for on this. And again, light coats, all the work, black work, all the windows. Just give several light coats. And then one final coat on all the rubbers. And there we go. Now LP5 I've started to use more and more on the window rubbers. I think the matte black can look a bit odd sometimes. Anyway, a quick word from our sponsors. Head on over to www.umpretail.com and help support mine and Lee's business, because without Ultimate Modelling Products there would not be any international scale modeler, and all the videos we put out there, and the Facebook page and the forum we run. We stock loads and loads of modelling products, including all our own products of our Apex airbrush, our pigments, primers, sanders, thinner and cleaner, tools, our wonderful storage system, polish system, and weathering washes. We also sell modelling tools, paints, model kits, glues, solutions, fillers, weathering products, aftermarket, and of course, international scale modeler merchandise and gift cards. And all orders made before 12 midday get next day delivery in the UK, and international orders are shipped within 48 hours. Right then, back to the bench. We got some Deluxe Materials glue and glaze again. And we're going to pop our bumper insert into the back. Now these are a little bit tricky. You've got to refer to instructions and a bit of a test fit here to make sure you get these the right way. I very nearly put them on upside down at first. The glue and glaze grabs things pretty well. If you leave it out to get tacky, it definitely has a bit more grabbing power to it. If you do put it on, you get any excess, just use your wet cotton bud, pointed one, Tamiya one, whatever you've got, will do the job fine. Get rid of any excess. Obviously, we repeated that for the other side, and that can be left to dry. It's a much less messy way of doing it. As you can see, the right one actually held itself on. It kind of clipped in place, but I thought, better to be safe than sorry, so I thought I'll take it off, pop a little bit of glue in there, and that can hold itself in. But it did actually push fit quite well, that one. And again, get a cotton bud to wipe off any excess. And then the rear lights, again, glue and glaze, getting nice and tacky now being in the pot. Just put a generous amount around the opening. The lights do go a particular way. The indicators go on the outside. Like so. Then the brake light goes on the inside. So the glue and glaze is good. It's not as rapid a fix as CA glue, but it's a lot less messy and a lot more risk-free. I'm becoming much more of a fan of using this in exterior parts, where the CA glue can fog, or if you slip or miss a bit, it creates a hell of a mess. So I am using this more and more. So just get it all around the orifice. Grab a brake light, like I say, indicators outside, brake lights inside. You can see our mask can work quite well on the reverse lights. Not too bad at all. Then our headlights, again, bit of glue and glaze in there. There is a locating lug in the light. We pop those in, push them home, and they're ready to be installed as well. And then a quick test fit. Again, these are handed, they only go in one way. So it's fairly obvious which way they go. And what we're going to do, we're going to put them in the up position and then glue on the bracket. So a quick test fit. Make sure everything lines up where we want it to. Which it does. And then we can grab our perfect pen, which has changed names now. I think it's called a craft pen or something like that now. They've changed the name of it. Different colour bottle. They charge you £1 extra and you get an extra gram. So you get another 25% extra CA glue. So a little dab of that. Pop the bracket on. Make sure it's located where we want it. Like so. And a little bit of kicker. Repeat that for the other side. And there's our pop-up headlights. Now they are very tight. The tolerances are quite tight on the front, but that kind of holds them in place as well. So I'm just going to try and get this one in. There we go. So they do pop in if pushed down too far. So you just want to get it so they just rest in the closed position like so. But they do work, and they do work quite well, to be fair. The front grille is especially tricky. This needs quite a bit of fettling to get it in. I did try and get it in with glue and glaze, but it just didn't have the purchase needed to hold it. So it was a case of getting it in. It literally needs forcing in place in a way. It kind of clicks in underneath. Like so. So once you've got it in, just hold it. Give it a few seconds. A bit of a pig to do this one, to be honest. It's just like the tolerances are just a little bit out. And I couldn't really see any way of sanding it to get it to fit. So went with a brute force option, which did work in the end. There we go, bit of CA glue. Did the job okay. Now we get the rear window in. Now I need to paint the roof of the car black still before everyone starts screaming at me in the chat. But we're going to get the glass in first. So we've got the rear glass section to go in. This one quite trouble free, to be fair. Located pretty positively where it needs to go. So just a quick test fit. Make sure it's lined up where we want it. And then some UV glue. Hit it with the glue. We're going to do both side points, top and bottom. And then the middle, top and bottom. Turn it around, hit it with the UV pen. says 5 seconds. Give it 5 to 10. I think it works a bit better if you leave it a bit longer. Same for the other side, and then we can repeat that. Now, this is where things start to go a little bit haywire, sadly. Trying to deal with the glass on the side windows and the windscreen. Same issues we had on the Porsche 959. The side glass is not the best, so it's definitely something we need to figure out next time. Got a little bit of CA glue on the very front of the bonnet, hood there. So that needs to be polished off later on. We'll get that at a later stage. A little bit fiddly, but doable. I'm just gluing in the top of the glass underneath. Like so. There we go. Now, on the side windows, I tried acetate, which just was having none of it at all with the UV glue. So I resorted going back to the kit plastic with CA glue, which they fell out about 400 times. Thankfully, I eventually got them in there. They don't fit great, but they're necessary evil. We need them. So, yeah, it's the way it is. So we got them in, glued in place. Not the cleanest of glass, full of marks and scratches and flaws in the plastic by the look of it, flaws in the moulding process. But we've got the bracket located in the top on the door, and then the bottom one just locates onto the door and then on to the bottom of the sill of the car. And again, we grab some activator for the CA glue, hit it, job done. We'll repeat that for the other door as well. And now we can get our side windows in. The doors need to be in before you can commit to the side windows, because otherwise we're not 100% sure where they're going. That's a case of lining it up. Make sure there's a little bit of a gap between it and the door, just 0.5 millimeter if that. And we're going to hit this straight up with CA glue, so a little dab of it at the top. Spread it down like so. Cocktail stick in the mouth. If you're going to do that, make sure you put it in the right way, for God's sake. A little bit of activator on a microbrush. Wipe off the excess and just touch it. And there we go. That's got that one. We'll put one on the top as well. And then repeat that for the other side. And that's the side windows in. Not too bad. They fit in quite well. And then, as I said, we're going to paint the roof as well. See, we've got some Vallejo model colour black. Thinned with a drop of water. Use a nice flat brush. I'm just going to go around, give it a coat, let it dry, and we'll give it another coat later on. You're better off giving 2 light coats than 1 heavy. You'll get much smoother paint and much better coverage as well. So there we go. We're also going to do the engine covers as well. They need to be black in parts underneath. And there we go. Front screen. This is the kit plastic going in now. This did have flaws in it. So I thought, right, okay, we'll use it after the farce with the acetate on the side windows. We'll go with it. CA glue on like normal. Bit of kicker, just like I use on all my glass. And out of nowhere, a huge crack starts to appear on the screen. And I literally sat and watched it travel from the top of the screen right down past the center. So I was at this point thinking, oh, well, isn't that wonderful? So that's just appeared out of absolutely nowhere. Must have been a weak point in the sprue where it was located. So yeah, we popped it back out. And now we're going to go to plan B. Thank God I bought this acetate roll for when we're doing the Cobra. But you can see the crack there. So we've got a short piece of it out. Make sure all the glue is cleaned off the old screen. And we're going to use this as a template now. So we've got a piece of acetate behind it. I'm just going to cut up and just ever so slightly bigger than it. So probably the best solution, to be honest. The kit glass did have some marks and flaws in it. It looks like flaws to the moulding process. So it's a case of, yeah, let's just go with the acetate. And let's see where it's going. Well, that crack is horrific. If you're watching, you're still listening, let me know what the worst modelling mishap is you've ever had. What's gone wrong that you just thought, oh my God, really? Luckily for me, this was savable. But what's your worst modelling mishap you've ever had with a kit? What's the worst thing that's gone wrong? Well, let me know in the comments down below. So like I say, we're just going to trim it up just ever so slightly bigger than the kit part. And then pop it in place. I'm just going to glue it. 4 points at the bottom, 4 points at the top, 1 at the side. Hit it with the kicker. Tiny bit of CA glue is what we need here, not a lot at all. And just keep going around. Start from the one edge and work your way around to the edge. You don't get any creases. And there we go, job done. Again, underneath the engine cover and luggage compartment cover, we've got some Flare Model Black. Again, thinned with a drop of water. It's not thinned with Coke. I'm just going to put down another couple of light coats to cover up all our areas underneath that have not been painted. Now, because we're using a nice water-based paint over our 2K paint, any excess that goes on the side is easily removable. So don't be too worried about getting up the edge, because it will come off really easily, as you're about to see. So there it is. Even if it's dry, just moisten the cotton bud. Don't lick it like I didn't. Just run it up the edge. Don't lick it again. Up the back. And over the top. And the paint will come off really easily. And again, just a case of following around all that grill. Infilling all the black. Couple of coats. Don't go mad. Don't put it on too thick. And then we can do the same for the actual engine cover as well. A bit more tricky to paint, so take your time on this one. You could mask it and spray it should you wish, but for me, I think brush painting is probably the best idea on this. It's a bit quicker than masking, and with all those grills, you're inevitably going to get some overspray through them. So at least using the brush, we can be a bit more careful. Now, I taped the door shut, because now it's time to put the body on. So I was looking at this thinking, how are we going to do this? Should I put the back in first? And I thought, no, that's not going to work. So let's just pop the body straight down over the top. And let's see how that works. And yeah, it went on much, much better. So we've got a locating lip at the front. And there's 2 little locating points at the back as well inside. So you need to just open up those bottom arches there very carefully. And just pop them in place. Like I say, the side windows kept popping off. They were absolutely driving me insane. So I had to keep taking them off, gluing them again. Side windows, absolute nightmare. The acetate on the front screen, not too bad. I think we got that in second attempt. So not too bad at all. But the glass really does let this kit down. So next time when we build, I think we need to figure out some other way of doing it that's a bit better. So like I say, 2 locating points on the back, so I'm just trying to line up. We've got a couple of dabs of CA glue on there ready. So once they're lined up, and then there's a little lip at the front, it just needs clipping in place, and that's it. Quite nice, positive body locating. We've lost our little cover here. So I'm just going to pull it back up and get it in position. There we go. Some glue and glaze for our window wipers. Now this can be quite tricky to do, but I think these are very important parts to use a water-based PVA glue on. So you're not going to get this into position straight away. So get it into the hole, leave it like for 10-15 minutes, let that glue go tacky, then position it, and it will hold it absolutely perfect for you then. So there we go, not too bad at all. Like I said, the front screen, not looking too bad. I did try and hold this rear piece on with PVA glue, the glue and glaze. It just wasn't having any of it. With the pressure off the engine cover opening, it was popping it back off. So I decided to use CA glue instead. At these latter stages in the build, every time you pick something up, make sure you wipe your hands. You haven't got any CA glue on you, but there you go. The engine cover does work. And there's our engine, which isn't looking too bad at all. So it's operable. Now the luggage compartment cover, I could not get the hinges to work. They were just too tighter tolerance, and it just was binding and stopping the not only the compartment opening, but they wouldn't shut properly. So I opted to leave them off, so the front compartment just lifts off. Now I went and lost one of the chrome exhausts. No idea where it went. It vanished. And I thought, right, okay, let's buy some aluminium tubing in roughly the same size. The kit exhausts are about 4mm, so I went with 5mm aluminium tube. I've got some Meguiar's metal polish, and we're going to polish this up to a nice shine. And then we're going to cut off some sections, pop them over the exhaust pipes, and hey presto. Now the car did have slash cut exhausts originally. Mine are going to be straight. So we're going to do that. Now, I originally grabbed my old plumbing mini pipe cutting tool, which cut through this really well. You can see it there, blue. I've had that for about 20 odd years. But it left too many marks on the metal from its wheels. So I opted to use a razor saw. The razor saws will cut through aluminium. Doesn't seem to have any real detrimental effect to the saw at all. Then using a reamer to clean and open up the edge on both ends. Everyone likes a good reaming, don't they? And then this, because I measured it, I know it slides over absolutely perfect. There we go, straight over the kit exhaust pipes. So we've got 4 of those all cut to the same length. Now they all need popping on and pushing in to the right length so they are flush. So test fit them first, see if one needs to go on more than the other. Just having a quick look, making sure everything's okay. It is, it's fine. Pop it back on. Good thing about the Loctite thicker CA glue is you get a little bit more time to work with it, which is nice. And again, we pop them in, get them side by side, then repeat that for the other side, and we're done. We've got a little bit of glue and glaze to get off those rear bumper inserts there. We'll get those off with a toothpick later on. You can just see where it screws at the top. Oh, there goes that on the floor. See you later. Bye. So we'll pick that up. There we go. Carefully that up. I'm not a fan of this stage. This is quite, it's an exciting stage of the build, but it's also terrifying because it's when things can go wrong. So really take your time. We've got our wing mirrors on as well. They were just, the chrome pieces were inserted in place and the wing mirrors literally glued onto the side. And the final step now is a quick wax. We've got some Ultimate Modeling wax. So we're just going to pop this on and give it a nice wax up. I've already gone over most of it once. Like I said, the paintwork isn't perfect. There's still some dust spots in there. I've got rid of it as much as I'm prepared to, so yes, there are flaws. None of my models are perfect, I will openly admit that. It is what it is. Other than that, the kit's gone quite well. The clear parts are very disappointing. The side and the front screen, not the greatest. Front screen's not too bad to replace with acetate. The side doors, because they're opening doors, proved a bit more difficult. So I think at a later date, I'm going to have to think of a better way of doing this. So thinking caps on for the rest, because I've got loads of these 116s. I've got Lamborghinis, I've got Countachs, F40. I think I've got an R380 Nissan. He turns around to have a look. R380. I've got a couple of Testarossas. I've got a Ferrari 512 BB. So I've got a few of these, and I do enjoy building them. They're a great scale, and they do build up to really nice models, but the glasswork really, really lets them down. So it's definitely something to look at. Like I said, my paintwork's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. It's nice and shiny. It's a beautiful deep red. I'm happy with all the engine colours I've chose, the interior colour I've chose, and the wheels. So yeah, whilst it's not perfect, I'm happy with the build. As you can see, that window's a little bit loose there, so it's going to need gluing in place again. But overall, enjoyable build. Going to look great in the display case. We're just going to go around with the wax and then buff it all up to a nice high shine. There we go. So the wax, there's no abrasive to it, so you're just wiping it on, let it haze up and wipe it off. Like so. And there we go. Like I say, flaws in the paintwork, whatever, it's one of those things. The glass isn't the best, but I'm happy with it. Overall, I am happy with it. It's not perfect. It's one of those. We had a lot of problems with the dust. We had an immense amount of dust land in it. It is what it is. Engine turned out quite well. Quite happy with this. Interior, more than happy with. So I'm happy with the build. It's a great subject as well. The 288 is a very, very pretty car. It does look good. Got a little bit more wax to buff off the roof there, which I do before we go to pictures. But yeah, not a bad build at all. And some pictures. So the Rosso Red, beautiful. Turned out really well. So we'll go through quickly what we did. So we primed this in Tamiya Pink Primer, decanted out the spray can and airbrushed. We base painted it in Gravity Colors Spain Rosso Red. Absolutely beautiful colour. Perfect colour for this car. Clear coated it in the Gravity Colors 2K Clear. There you go. There's the headlights down and up in the previous picture. The wheels were done in Mr. Hobby Super Metallic Superfine Silver. We used various LP and TS Tamiya paints on all the engine and what have you. We flatted all the bodywork with some wet and dry and micromesh, and polished it all up with the UMP polishing system, the compound polish and wax. We Molotov sprayed the prancing horse on the front grille, and that's it. With our exhausts that we made, I think it's come together quite well. And the side profile of this car is absolutely stunning. It's a very, very pretty car. And like I say, pretty happy this turned out. Not too bad at all. Could have been better, could have been worse. But there we go. That's the nature of modelling. There we go then. So another one off the bench. Now, as I said, personally myself, I'm happy with this. I know the glasswork's going to be a pain on these. Definitely need to look into something. I think I need to get some very thin, not acetate, but actual plastic, clear plastic. So the acetate's a little bit too thin. For the side doors, it was too thin. It was flexing too much and pulling itself back off every time I opened and shut the door. On the windscreen, it wasn't too bad. We used that on the Cobra and it worked well. Not too bad on this one at all. But the kit plastic is awful in these Fujimi kits. We had the same issues with the 959 on the doors. So I think I need to look for more of a rigid, clear plastic to replace those in future. Use the original parts as templates. Cut them out. We can use proper styrene glue to get them in place. And maybe even paint the frames, even if it's by hand, later on. Or mask them, whatever. I think it needs glued in place before we paint. I think it needs properly plastic cemented in place because they are troublesome. But the clear parts are terrible quality. You remember the review? They had flaws in them. There was like molding flaws inside them, and it showed on our front windscreen. It must have had a flaw in front it was made, because as soon as I glued it, it just cracked. Something horrific. So it just shows you. Other than that, the kits are okay. I mean, these are 35, 40-year-old kits, some of them. Well, not quite that old. 30, 35-year-old kits. They are not young kits at all. But they go together surprisingly well. And I've enjoyed the two I've done so far. This has been an enjoyable build. And they're all iconic cars. Like I said, I've got a Countach. I've got two Countaches to build. Two Testarossas, the Koenig and the Spider version. I've got a Nissan R380. We've got the Ferrari BB512. F40 as well, which is one I'm really looking forward to doing. So I do enjoy them. It's a good scale as well because they're not too big. I can get 2 or 3 on a shelf where a 12 scale car would go. Although the display case is getting full again. In fact, I think it is full once the Ferrari's gone in. So we're going to have to offload some more 24 scale cars, I think. So eBay, here we come. We're going to have to move some of the build kits on for sure. Like I say, overall, didn't push the paintwork. I could have gone further with the sanding, but for me, it's weeks of work of waiting for the 2K to cure. I like to leave the 2K as long as possible. If I burn through that, we've got to start from scratch. So that's a lot of work and quite a bit of money as well to repaint, reprime, repaint, re-2K. And it does, for me, get to the point where I think, this is getting really sketchy now. And like I said in the video, I did burn through a couple of places, luckily very inconspicuous areas. And I thought, yeah, okay, we need to be really careful here. So there are flaws in the paintwork. That's bad or by it's the way it is. That's my choice. If you want to go further with your builds, that's your choice, and you know that's everyone's individual choices with the build. For me, a flaw is a flaw. It's one of those. It shows we're only human and things happen. But overall, I'm happy with the kit. It looks great. Such a beautiful looking car, the 288. And a fantastic colour. That Rosso red from Gravity, absolutely stunning. So there we go. So what's next? I kind of have an idea what to do. And I've got about 400 other ideas of what to do as well. Plus, I keep buying cool things. Off tangents, but this arrived today. How cool is that? So I think we'll review that over the weekend. And it keeps making me think, should I build this? No, I'll do that. But I'm going to have a think over today. And think what's going to get started next. We've still got the F51 on the go, so another part of that will be up soon. But today I'm going to get my cave all back to normal, because it's always like a bomb site when I finish a build, because everything's just lobbed everywhere. And yeah, that's it. So, as always, you want to help support the videos and me producing the videos. Your chance to do so is there now. I have a Patreon link, which is in the description down below. You can pay monthly, help support the video output, because without the Patreon, I can't continue making these videos. There's no paywall. Everything is publicly accessible. It's just you're helping me make the videos with not only time, subject matter, materials. It just helps massively. It really does. And thanks to everyone that's become a patron so far. Your support is very much valued. And to all the crazy people who keep sending me stuff in the post, you're all mad. But thank you very much, everybody. There's also a PayPal me link as well if you want to just do a one-off donation or the occasional one. All in the description down below. Make sure you check out Fantastic Scale Modeler Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com, where you can get a lot of the products I use in these videos. Big long list in the description down below of all the products I use and probably where you can get them from as well. Check out my Paul ISM modelling page where all my personal and modern work is shared. And check out the Live the Bench page and the Off Air Hangout group for all the live show news and the Off Air Hangouts. So there we are. You've got a bit of a long video to watch today. If you stuck around this far, thank you very much. I will catch you all next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.